Greetings, Africans. How are you, Africans? I hope you Africans are well. I'm well, guys. My name is Debos Kosana, and this is my channel. Okay, guys, on this video, we'll be talking about Fikile Mbalula, the African National Congress Secretary General. Right. I'm asking the question: is Fikile Mbalula the worst Secretary General the ANC has ever had? Right? Is he the worst? Right. And I'll qualify this question. Under the stewardship of Fikile Mbalula as the Secretary General, you'd remember that the ANC dropped in terms of the electoral fortunes or the electoral outcomes. The ANC dropped from 57% to 40% national, right? Meaning, under the stewardship of Fikile Mbalula as the Secretary General, those who understand the role of the Secretary General in an organization, especially an organization like the African National Congress, would understand why this position is such a powerful position and an influential position within the organization. Remember, the Secretary General becomes an engine, right, of the organization. Meaning, any motor, right, any vehicle, for it to operate optimally, for it to be efficient, right, the engine has to be healthy, right? The engine has to be top notch. The engine has to be the top quality. You cannot have an organization or a vehicle that will perform well if the engine is of a lesser quality. Meaning a vehicle cannot have high quality performances without a high quality engine. Right? So you understand how key the position of the Secretary General, especially in an organization like the African National Congress, becomes. So when you look at the fact that when Fikile Mbalula became the Secretary General, he inherited an organization that was standing at 57% in terms of the electoral fortune. Right? It was standing at 57% in terms of the electoral fortunes. Meaning the ANC, by the time when Fikile Mbalula became the Secretary General, the ANC was a government on its own. It was governing on its own. It didn't need any coalitions. Right? Remember, he became the Secretary General of the African National Congress, including that entire NEC, in December 2022. Fast forward to May 2024. They dropped the ANC by 17%. Right? From 57% to 40%. Right? That's the first point. Right? That I would argue a point that indeed, with all the subjective and objective factors considered, this places Fikile Mbalula as the worst Secretary General in the history of the African National Congress. I would argue that very strongly. Secondly, the point that I argue that solidifies the position that indeed Fikile Mbalula is the worst Secretary General in the history of the African National Congress. It is the fact that he's overseeing a process whereby a former liberation movement, the African National Congress, that has also prided itself with championing the interest of the downtrodden masses. And in our case, the downtrodden masses in the South African case, we are talking about the natives, the Africans, the black people, who are majority and who are indeed the natives of this land. That's who the ANC has always defined itself as an organization that seeks the liberation of the marginalized. But under the stewardship of this Secretary General, the ANC has gone into bed with a political party of colonialism, apartheid, and neoliberal agenda, which is the Democratic Alliance, the DA. Right? Meaning under the stewardship of Fikile Mbalula as the engine of the organization. He's overseeing a process where the ANC has neglected the natives, the African people. Remember the African National Congress, under the leadership of Fikile Mbalula and Cyril Ramaphosa. But specifically I'm focusing on Fikile Mbalula and his role as the Secretary General. Under his leadership, the ANC has abandoned and forsaken the Africans in favor of the imperialist agenda that is being championed by those who are funding Cyril Ramaphosa as the president of ANC, but also those who are funding even the African National Congress, which is the white monopoly capital. To an extent that Fikile Mbalula is prepared to expel those members of the African National Congress who continue to remind his leadership that what they decided to do, it is selling out. Them going into that grand coalition with the DA, the grand coalition that they've decided to term it as the so-called government of national unity. It's a sellout position. But Fikile Mbalula is also now even championing the process of silencing those ones. Those voices within the African National Congress who are unhappy with this decision, who are correctly pointing out that this is a sellout position. So all these factors are the factors that make Fikile Mbalula the worst Secretary General in the history of the African National Congress. He's the SG of the ANC who's serving the interest of white capital at the expense of the natives. The natives who are the majority voters of the very same African National Congress. You've got an organization that is dominated by the natives, the Africans, but it is serving an agenda of the white minority under the leadership of Fikile Mbalula. Hence, I'm presenting this case that indeed this makes Fikile Mbalula the worst Secretary General in the history of the African National Congress. I'll leave it at that. You guys tell me what you make of that. As always, you are welcome to comment in the comment section below. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, and join the channel to become a member of the channel. Let's grow the community. Let's see it. Makanye ma Africa.